Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video, and if I'm being honest, I am slightly nervous because for the first time ever, I'm going to be trying my hand at a Pan That palette, and today is my introduction. I have selected the sultry palette to work on. I did feel like this would be a kind of like beginner friendly palette to work on in a Pan That palette, especially considering one, the ABH formula is like a little bit more powdery, and I just feel like I've hit pan on shadows quicker, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll use up shadows quicker. But I also have 4 pans in this palette already, and I feel like the color story is very everyday friendly for a gal like me. So I am going to be doing a Pan That palette this year. In terms of other eyeshadow panning projects, I am going to do something like a no pan left behind with a little bit of a twist. That introduction will be coming later, but I'm not going to try and be as heavily focused on hitting pan within my eyeshadow palette collection this year, but rather actually cycling through my palette collection. With the exception of challenging myself to a Pan That palette. It's like a panning feat I've never even like tried my hand at, and I just feel like I need to try it so that I can be a more well-rounded project panner, if you will. So if you're interested in hearing a little bit more about my Pan That palette for the year of 2023, stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project panning content, palette themed content, or just chit-chatting about makeup, I would love if you'd consider subscribing before moving on. And other than that, let's get into the video. All right, you guys, eventually I will swap out my Christmas gnomes. I'm thinking I kind of want to do like holiday, like themed gnomes throughout the year. So I need to find like some Valentine's gnomes and I'll switch those out. Okay. My sultry palette, like I said, I already have 4 pans already in this palette. I have I'm a good dent of the way through fresh already, which is just like an all over lid setting shade. And then I have a pretty decent sized pan in Pearl as well. Where else am I? Twig, pretty decent sized pan, especially considering that's like a, not deeper, but like a cool toned matte shade. I typically have a lot more success in hitting pan. Well, actually I hit pan on a lot of lid setting shades and a lot of old eyebrow setting shades. I used to do a brow powder all the time, which is actually how I hit pan on the 4th shade in here, which is in Dystopian. But mattes are historically a harder shadow for me to hit pan on. I will say everyday work appropriate looks, or just like what I like to wear to work, is typically more neutral cool leaning. So I feel like this will be the perfect palette for everyday work. In terms of what I think will give me the most challenge, probably these 4 shades at the end here, as well as this shade right here. I'm thinking I want to try and see if I can use this as a blush. I don't know where my panning journey is going to take me. I also think I may end up having some trouble with like Ember or Cinder or Teak, even just more like mid-toned shimmer shades. Like typically I'm really good at like lighter, like inner corner highlight shades. Like the easiest shades to pan, I can pan those. But I am just so excited to just try my hand at a Pan That palette. This could be an absolute disaster, and maybe I will absolutely hate my experience, but it could also be a ton of fun. So this palette is currently weighing 184 grams. I will take weights every single month, and then I will track my usage on each and every shade each month as well, and kind of give myself new goals every single month for this palette. And looking at this now, like I feel like the next natural shadow for me to hit pan on is this shade Birch. Although I do feel like it'll take a little bit of an effort, but my goal for the February update will be to have a 5th pan and have a pan in the shade Birch right here. And then I would like to maybe like have side pan on the shade Fresh. I feel like that would be very, very easy to do. And then maybe make my way just through like Rose Quartz, like get closer to a pan on Rose Quartz. I don't think I'll hit pan, but that would be something I feel like would be relatively doable. And then I would love to at least use every single shade within this palette at least one time to kind of just get my feel for some shades maybe that I don't reach for that often. I would love to create like 3 looks using only this palette. I am someone who historically loves to have multiple, in the past I would say, last year was a little bit different, but in the past I used to have like 5 to 8 palettes open at a time, and I wouldn't ever just use one palette to create a look. So I would love to do like 3 looks just using this palette to create the look. But I feel like those are some good goals to begin. I don't really know if you guys have done a Pan That palette and have recommendations, tips, or even things that you want to see me try to accomplish throughout this project. If you have goals you think I should set for myself, definitely leave me some goals in the comments below. But I feel like this is just where we're gonna start because I have literally no idea. I'm gonna have to start using the black. Makes me very nervous just because I tightline with like a liquid liner, but very rarely do I literally ever reach into a black powder shadow, and also slate makes me very nervous. But we're just gonna see where this takes us. Again, I would love to be close to pan on rose quartz, would love to have a pan on birch, and then have side pan on fresh. But this is what my sultry palette is currently looking like. And that is truly really all I have to say for this introduction. I know this was super short and sweet. Obviously the updates going forward will be longer, but leave me your suggestions, comments, goals, whatever it might be in the comments below. Other than that, if you're doing a Pan That palette, let me know what palette you're panning this year. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to watch. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.